Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today's focus is going to be on understanding text structures. Text structures are mainly related to nonfiction text or informational text as they are known nowadays, but in order to fully understand what the information in those texts are telling you, you have to understand how each individual paragraph is structured in order to fulfill its natural duty. So, as always, I want you to copy everything that is in red as we go through here. So, text structures, try to think of a text structure as a structure of a building. When you see buildings, they're not built the same way, and the same thing with text as well. Not all texts are meant to tell you or describe how things are made or the special steps it takes to create certain recipes. Each of these structures are meant to fulfill a specific purpose. So, you can think of text structures as the structure of how a text is built. For example, a skyscraper is different from a house. When you think of a skyscraper, you're thinking of a very elongated building, but with a house, you can see it's got a lot more of a sturdy base at the bottom. It's got different rooms for its specific use, such as a living room, a bathroom, a dining room, and so on and so forth. Texts are the same way. So builders can use different types of structures to build different things, and so can you as a writer, and so can you as a reader interpret those structures and those meanings from it. And they use these structures to build specific ideas, to really get across certain points. And as we start going through this, I want you to really think about the different types of text you've read online or in books or even with your 30-book challenge. And each one is used to communicate a different idea. Starting off with chronological order, authors use chronological order to explain.
Teachers, please.
Starting off with chronological order, authors use chronological order to explain how things happen in order. These are typically with your recipes, with your how-to videos, with your how-to articles such as howto.com, but those are mainly done in order to really give you a sense of time and give you a sense of direction as well, hence the name chronological, with the word chronological meaning time-based. Chronological order is also called sequence or time order as well. Now, authors may use this chronological order to discuss about frog. If you start thinking about a frog in its entire life cycle, you start off with just a very basic tadpole, and as it begins to sprout more physical characteristics, you can start to see it become more of an actual frog. And so you can describe how it goes through each of those steps, one by one, based on time. Keywords in this context may include first, next, later, then, and finally. Now, with first, you can always think of first you do this, second you do this, third you do this. You can always do it as a sort of number-based system like that. Or you can just think of it as, at first you begin this step, next you begin this step, later you begin this step, then you begin this step. And you go through that entire sequence until you finally reach finally, where you just really summarize everything, or you give that one final grandiose step. And as I said, you typically see these with recipes, such as with mac and cheese. So when we're using this example here, have you ever made mac and cheese? It's simple. First, boil some water and make some macaroni. Then make your cheese sauce. After the cheese sauce is ready, mix it in with the macaroni. You bake the entire thing, and then finally it's time to eat. And you can really see these words as you're going through the sample text here and in some of the text you're reading for your 30-book challenge, such as first, then, after, and finally. Now, which paragraph do you typically see in chronological order? Would it be this one where you're talking about Pennsylvania having historic sites, such as Valley Forge, important locations for the Civil War, and Titusville? Or would it be this one where you're talking about Pennsylvania seeing many interesting events? The state was founded in 1681. Later, it was home to new factories during the Revolution, and then today, Pennsylvania continues to make history. So which one of these two paragraphs would you assume would be more for chronological order? Now, offhand, if you see a date in here, such as 1681, you automatically know this has to do with time, because it's giving you a timestamp here. And of course, you see words such as later, after that, and today. As I mentioned, the second paragraph would be the one in chronological order, with through the ages, 1681, later, after that, and then finally today. And moving through this one. Chronological order isn't the only text structure. Of course, you can have different ways of doing so, such as if an author doesn't want to show how something happened in sequence, and they want to really try to use a different method to get their point across. This is where you can use compare and contrast. Compare and contrast text structures are based on how you can, based on the title alone, compare different things and really differentiate between how they are unique in their own way, such as with these two birds here. Now you can make a comparison about these birds. You can say, okay, well, they're both birds. They're pretty small birds. They may have the same diet. They may be in the same environment. But you can also tell what makes it unique and what makes it different about it, such as its appearance, such as its different diet, all these different things that you can really focus on. Such as this text example here. So we have the cardinal and the goldfinch are two common birds. Both are brightly colored. Both are common at bird feeders, but the birds have some differences. The male is a bright red, while the male goldfinch is yellow. Cardinals like shrubs and trees, while goldfinches prefer open meadows. So you can kind of see where the author is trying to make you see what makes these things similar and what makes them different as you're reading this. Moving on. And you can see a few examples of these words here, such as both, but, and while. And with with a compare and contrast, you can use different graphic organizers to really get your information together, such as this Venn diagram here. If you would put both of the birds in two different spaces, such as goldfinch and cardinal, and the middle portion being what they have in common. And of course, you can use a T-chart such as this, such as their colors, their habits, their diet, where they're located, all these different nuances to really help you figure out what makes them special. You also have cause and effect too. This is usually with your newspapers and your articles online, such as Yahoo or maybe BuzzFeed in some cases. But in this case, cause and effect is really to explain how one event leads to another, what causes this event, and what are the effects of this event. So, for example, if I said that if you do your homework and you focus in class, the effect of those outcomes would be having higher grades or maybe some extra Friday free time, or whatever the case may be. Conversely, if I said that low grades were due to lack of focus, or goofing off in class, or if you just didn't understand the material the best way you could, you can kind of see where all of these really tie in together as far as what's causing something and what are the effects. Words to help you recognize this include cause, effect, as a result, consequently, and so on. And of course, cause and effect, the two words are in the title alone, but when you start thinking about it, the cause of, let's say, erosion with rocks. The cause of erosion with rocks could be based on oxygen or different water that keeps seeping onto the rocks. As an effect of erosion, these rocks continue to break down or continue to get scattered across different areas. And again, you can rephrase those words however you need to. So as a result of erosion, consequently because of erosion, and so erosion leads to smaller rocks in different locations. Let's try to find the clue words here. So we have the night snowstorm had many effects. People were out shoveling snow from their sidewalks. The power lines were draped with ice. Snow plows drove down every street. Children were the happiest of all. The unexpected snow caused school to be canceled. So what keywords do you think would be in this? If you need to pause the video right now, you can. Caused and effects. Again, those words mainly inside the text structure itself, but you can really see them pop up here. So the night snowstorms have many effects, or the night snowstorms have many consequences. Children were happiest of all. The unexpected snow caused school to be canceled. So the snow caused school to be canceled. Again, cause and effect. Same thing here. Baby painted turtles spend all winter in their nests. They have special chemicals in their blood that can keep their blood from freezing. As a result, baby painted turtles can survive freezing temperatures. They have special chemicals in their blood that can keep their blood from freezing. This would be the cause. This is what is causing them to spend all winter in their nest. And as a result, baby painted turtles can survive freezing temperatures. So this is the result of it, or the effect of it. Moving on from here. Again, problem solution. Sometimes an author wants to explain a problem and then show one or more solutions to it. So you usually see this with politicians, like they'll say, okay, here's a problem that we're facing in society with education or with funding or with wars or any domestic situation we're facing, and really try to give you their solutions for it. This is called problem and solution text structures. So here's an example. Heavy rains can cause flooding in small streams. For weather forecasters and local authorities, this flooding can be difficult to predict. Fortunately, the United States Geological Survey, USGS, has more than 7,000 streamages that measure water flow. These streamages help scientists to monitor water levels in good and bad weather. Now, what do you think would be the problem here? What do you think would be the solution that they've arrived to? This flooding can be difficult to predict, so here's your problem. Okay, the flooding, you can't really determine the nature of it. And their solution is the USGS having 7,000 streamages to measure water flow. And if you want to add on to this as well, the streamages help scientists to monitor water levels in good and bad weather. So again, you can kind of tie in problem and solution and cause and effect with this case. And of course, you'll see words such as problem and solution. And difficulty, struggle, uncertainty, worry, threat, and problem. For problem. Now for solution, you can include possibility, hope, bright spot, answer, and future. And for time's sake, we'll move on from here. Now finally, you have description. Description is used to describe a location, idea, or event. Sometimes the author isn't trying to tell you information just to persuade you or just to explain why things are happening the way they are, such as cause and effect or problem and solution. Sometimes they just want to tell you about something. Sometimes they just want to inform you. This is where description comes in. So here's a beautiful description here. So the pond was a beautiful place to visit. The falling leaves were all different colors, decorated the surfaces of the water. The edges of the pond, small wildflowers grew, and the golden forest glowed faintly in the distance. You can actually see this image in your mind. Yeah, of course, there's a picture here, but you can visually think about it whenever you're reading a description such as this. This really helps you try to imagine what it would be like. And sometimes authors do this with nonfiction pieces just to put you in a time and place for it. And this would be your main idea. The pond was a beautiful place to visit, and everything else would be your supporting details, such as the leaf color, the edges of the pond, the wildflowers, and just its visuals, such as glowing faintly in the distance. And clue words can include one reason, another reason, and for example. And I know these aren't read, but go ahead and copy these down as well, just so you have those for reference. So one reason, another, and for example. And other spatial words, spatial meaning in proximity with each other, like how they're related close to one another, such as next to, by, along, in, above, and so forth. Now we'll move on from here. So just one review for you. Daniel Sullivan was the first to notice the flames coming in from O. Henry Barn at around 8 on October 8th. The problem with the alarm box made it impossible for people in the area to call for the fire department. By 9:30, the entire block was blazing. For another 3 hours, there was fires all over Chicago. The heavy wind came from the lakes only made the fire bigger. It would be another day before the fire would be completely out. By that time, 17,500 buildings have been burned. Now you can tell what type of structure it is based on the fact that you have 8:30, 9:30, and another 3 hours, and by that time. So this one would be a chronological order. All right, and that is it for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to look at the PowerPoint just to see if there's any additions made to it. And as always, make sure you copy your notes as they should be. And have a good day.